All right. Well, welcome to the castle. Ryan, we've got CastleMania Lisa. So this is our second live stream, and we are so happy that you guys joined us. Wanted to just kind of, before we get into the main topics, maybe kick off with just something lighthearted, some like what have you been up to kind of conversation while people are still coming in. And I mean, do you want to kick off the Merlin app? We discovered this cool app that we're all kind of really addicted to. So why don't you explain what that is?
Yeah, so our neighbor, our buddy Steve, he told us about this really cool app, and there's a lot of birds. I think there's a lot of birds in our neighborhood.
Yeah,
I don't know.
We live in a wooded.
We're
in the Pacific Northwest, so there's a lot of birds, and we've just been having fun with this app called Merlin.
So I just want to say, so Merlin is like the Shazam Pokemon Go for bird watchers.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And so basically what it is you walk around and you can use your microphone or your camera to like identify birds, and then it saves it like in your Pokédex, I guess, for lack of a better word. And we've been having fun with that. So it's free. If you guys haven't heard of it before, go ahead and download it. It's more fun than you might think.
It's a lot of fun. So like if you're on a walking your dog, it kind of makes you, it's made us like wander down different areas, right? Like wooded areas and things that we wouldn't have normally. It kind of makes exploring a little bit more fun, I feel like.
Yeah.
And so just to like, okay, so some of the cool birds that we've just gotten in a couple days was maybe a great horned owl, which was very exciting. Goldfinch, doves, sparrows, starlings, crows, housefinch, chickadees, robins, all kinds of birds. It's actually really, really fun. So I don't know if you can kind of see, like on there, you sort of get your listing of birds as you go that you can save. And it makes me want to go like hiking again and explore and like get out of the house and go maybe where there's less city sounds, like less cars going by. So it's pretty fun.
All right. So I wanted to thank you for sharing that. Kick off the main topic. We've actually got several topics to go over tonight. The main one is Arcane, which is a Netflix show based on League of Legends. And before you throw all your rotten fruit and tomatoes at me and whatnot, check it out. League of Legends is a mobile game, and maybe you're expecting the worst. But that's actually what made me interested in it, is because as I've been kind of talking lately about modern gaming and kind of how everything just feels like a copy, paste, repeat method of telling stories lately, I thought to myself, these are characters I've never heard of. They're daring to do something different. And they're taking a mobile game and they're trying to make it more into like a franchise. So I thought to myself, I'm going to give this a chance and see what it's all about. And I think that is something we should all do, like just in general, is just not like develop preconceived notions, like coming from our background as, retro gamers or like more in like hardcore gaming collecting scene. It's easy to dismiss mobile games. But again, there's people behind this and they're telling a story. And I thought, let's just jump in and see what that's about. The fact that it is a mobile game was the kind of the hook for me. So we've both watched it independently, just the first episode. And you guys are welcome to watch along. We'll next week talk about episode 2.
I'm curious if anybody, sorry, is it Day? DAOX1. I don't know how to say that. Sorry.
Daox.
Daox. Okay.
And,
So I'm curious.
Man 1 Moogle.
If you've had a chance to watch it or not yet. I know it's been on Netflix for a minute. It initially came out like a few years ago.
Yeah.
And there's 2 seasons now.
Oh, there's 2 seasons.
I'm very curious if they're going to come out with a third, because I know it's really gained some popularity pretty recently. And so I don't want to, I guess I wanted to also say straight out of the gate, I don't want to give away any spoilers or have any given away.
Yeah. No, we're not here to spoil anything.
Yeah.
But what I'll tell you is this: when you turn it on, the animation style is different. It was different than what I expected, and so it's kind of interesting. The more you get, Manic Moogle. Thank you. Oh, okay. I see. The one is an I. Okay, my bad. And I appreciate you correcting me, because I do want to say everyone's names correctly. But then the backgrounds are like traditional animation. They look like they're just like the animation you grew up with. It's very hand-drawn kind of looking, the backgrounds and the landscapes. And then the main characters are very, it reminds me of like Telltale games, where it's got this kind of early 2000s, almost Toy Story kind of graphic vibe to it. A little better than that, maybe like Xbox 360 kind of era character animations. And those 2 animation styles like create a contrast where it took me a minute. I'll be honest. It took me a minute to kind of get used to watching it.
It took me a minute because the movements are almost like, I don't know, it's like a GoPro or like watching The Office or something like that. The way that the camera, like if there was a camera there, it's moving. That took me a minute to get used to.
So the animation style, I think once you kind of like get into it, like maybe 20-30 minutes into it, you kind of forget that you're we're taking note of it, but it is different. And again, this is stuff that I applaud, because for me anyways, I'm kind of getting a little tired of the just the same old kind of approach to storytelling. But at a glance, just the first episode, what you should expect is that different kind of art style. And it just opens, the scene opens with like this ragtag group of thieves. And my initial thought was, it totally reminded me of the opening scene of Final Fantasy VII, where you have these like, this group of like misfit adventurers, kind of, they're thieves in this as well. And in Final Fantasy VII, they were like eco-terrorists, but it's like this group of kids put together to go do something. And I guess I'll leave it there. You should watch it. But
I think you can say like a little bit about it, and you're not like ruining it. I don't think. I mean, the story.
You know, this group of kids, they go in to a situation where they do discover or kind of like open the doors to something that they weren't expecting in route while they're doing this campaign. So, and then it just kind of goes from there, and you kind of see where it is, the world that they're living in. It kind of like zooms out, so that you're kind of seeing more and more kind of like, well, and I'll say too, like the opening credits, like before the actual story starts, it's very like post-apocalyptic kind of world setup, kind of reminded me of Terminator. But then it gets into, then the show opens, and it's like I said, it kind of definitely reminded me of the beginning of Final Fantasy VII. And honestly, it kind of maintains that a little bit as it goes from there, as they leave and kind of go back to their home area, where you start to see other people that know them and people that don't know them.
Can I give a synopsis? Is that
sure.
Okay?
Is
that gonna like ruin it? Okay. So Arcane season 1, episode 1. Okay, so the first episode is called Welcome to the Playground. And so Orphan Sisters, Vi and Powder. Is it V or Vi? No, I feel like I'm gonna, because I'm still getting used to the characters.
It doesn't matter.
Okay. So Vi and Powder, they're adopted by Vander. Vander leader. And they're connected with Zon, right?
Okay.
Which is the people that live like the more poor people that live in like the lower part of a city, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So when we see them come in, so years later, Vi and her siblings, they're on a heist, okay? And they're in the posh Piltover area, which is like above them, right? Where all like the few wealthy people live, okay? So there's an explosion that happens right when they're on this heist. They find some magical crystals.
So I don't want to go too far into this.
Okay, I'm gonna leave it there because
the main thing is there is, as established here, is there's like a two-world situation. There's the haves and the have-nots, and these misfit adventurers are in an area they do not belong in, which is like, it's like kind of like the Lady and the Tramp. It's like the tramp is on the wrong side of the tracks.
Yes.
They do not belong here. They can't be seen. They will be noticed, and they're there to do this heist.
Right.
And then all hell breaks loose, and the story goes from there. So I would encourage everyone to watch it, and then we'll just catch up next week. And
we'll try again. No, it's okay. I just want to say that like you'll see when the character Echo comes in a little later in the episode. I felt like the first part of it felt like interesting but a little bit slow, but like the last 15 minutes, just if you stick with it, it like really heats up.
The last 15 minutes really solid. Next topic is 8-bit breakfast. What is the 8-bit breakfast? Well, I don't know how to share my screen yet, but I will in the next one of these live streams. 8-bit breakfast is our brand new blog site. So you guys are welcome to visit. I know I can drop a link in the chat, and you guys can just visit this later. Let me pull this up. 8-bit breakfast. So this is just kind of a way for us to kick things off like in a different direction. Like we only ever really get the opportunity to talk with people and about the topics that we kind of enjoy from this community aspect in these live streams, which is new for us, and at conventions. And a lot of times we leave these conversations and we're thinking like, oh my gosh, I wish I would have said this, or you know what, this was mentioned, Manic Moogle mentioned this, so like I should have made a comment about that. And this gives us an opportunity to do that. But it also gives us an opportunity to share a little bit. Muramasa, what's going on? How are you?
What time is it where you are?
Yeah,
what time is it?
He's in Utah. I think he's either the same time or maybe an hour.
Oh, are you like 2 hours ahead?
He'll let us know.
So it's getting a little bit late there. Okay.
But 8-bit breakfast is also an opportunity to like just share the other stuff that we're into. So a couple of the articles that we are working on right now, like you'll see right on the homepage, there's a article that says reading my way through Image Comics, the hunt for 10 runs worth your shelf space. And so it's 8:40. So yeah, he's only an hour.
Oh, it's only an hour. Okay. Okay, that's fair.
So with comic books, I grew up with comic books, and actually my very first, like, I hesitate to say real job, but my first like real job past a paper route was in a comic book store. And this is in the early 90s. So I don't know if I've ever told you this, but my first job was at the Factoria Mall in Bellevue comic book store. And I was 13, I want to say.
I remember this child labor story.
Yeah. So I was like totally not allowed to work there from a legal perspective. but for whatever reason,
Yeah.
they hired me and they said, well, we can hire you, but we can only pay you in trade. Right. And so minimum wage at that time was $4.10 an hour in trade, and so in trade back then, I think a typical like a Spawn comic book would have been about $1.90, if I remember correctly. So I was getting like 2 comic books an hour, 2.5, sometimes 3. If I was getting like a back issue or something that was cheaper, maybe I could like squeeze 3. Or maybe I would get enough to like put a bag on my comic book or something like that per hour. And so I've gone through. Can you grab the 2 books that are under there?
Mm-hmm.
I've gone through a couple of phases in my life where I've read comic books, and so the first phase was basically middle school, and that run was when, and what got me into comic books was when they killed Superman. I don't know if any of you guys were reading comics around then, but in the early 90s, there was kind of this lull in like interest in sales, and a lot of these comic book companies were struggling, and that actually did continue for quite a while. But one of the big ideas they had was to just let's do it. Let's just kill Superman, and that's when actually I have Doomsday right there. I don't know if you can see him. Boop, right there. And actually have Thunder Punch He-Man fighting him. And then there's the Doomsday behind him a little further, underneath Snake Mountain there, fully suited up. But he came along and he killed Superman. And I was just hooked. So the very first comic books I ever bought was The Death of Superman, Spawn issue 3, and Usagi Yojimbo. I think it was either 1 or 2 or something like that, because I love Ninja Turtles as well. Last time I got really into comic books was, I'd have to look up the exact years, but it was in the early 2010s. And so I'm a DC guy. I grew up reading DC, like I'd explained. It was primarily because of Killing of Superman, but also Image came out in the 90s. So I collected for some of the Image stuff. And I kind of missed Marvel. Like I learned everything I know about Marvel alongside the rest of most of us with the Marvel Cinematic Universe and whatnot. I was aware of it, but I wasn't a reader. But the last run that I had gotten into was in the early 2010s, I want to say. And there was this big arc called Trinity War. And that got me hooked in, and I read for probably a year or 2. So now I got the itch and I'm working my way through. So the very first one is Exquisite Corpses. And I've started reading this one, and it's really good. And it's definitely like written for, I mean, I'd have probably appreciated it as a teen. But it's written for adults too in mind. Like it's not corny or anything like that. It's like a kind of a serious read. Is anyone in here? Is anyone who's all reading comic books? I see Manic Moogle says, I'd love to have that set up. My parents didn't have much money, so I never got a single comic book.
Oh boy. It's time to catch up then.
Dude, I hear you. Like that's what, like we didn't grow up with, like we grew up, a single mom household too. And like we only got as children what we made happen on our own. That's how I wound up working at a comic book store for trade, and really that's how I got all my comic books, was just working in trade or doing my paper out. But this is a good one. And you can get these on Amazon. I think I got this one for like $7.99. Totally worth it. And then the next one, this is called Black Ritual, Book of Nyx. And I don't know much about this. This is a Spawn spin-off story. Just on the back, it says Nyx has played a multifaceted role in Al Simmons' Spawn life, shifting between rival, ally, and even savior. As the original She-Spawn, she played a crucial part in the rescuing of Wanda, which is Spawn's wife. and Cyan alongside Al. However, her abrupt disappearance left a trail of unanswered questions, so on and so forth. I'm not going to read the whole thing.
Oh, they're in White Center. They were trying to do the same thing, but didn't happen. It didn't happen in White Center.
Yeah, I mean,
a little further south.
We just have like different things that come our way. Back in the early 90s, it was common for kids to be able to get a paper out, and paper routes were tough business. So I remember my very first paper out I got when I was 10. And when you were 10, you were allowed legally to deliver for the local paper. I lived in Kenmore. Since you're in White Center, you might know where that is. It's on the north end of Lake Washington. That delivered every Tuesday, and you would, so every day of the, well, and then on Wednesday you had to deliver the like free promotional paper thing to unsubscribed customers to try to get them to subscribe. So you really delivered 2 days a week. And at the end of all of that, you had to go as a child and knock on people's doors, and you were doing collections, and you would go collect your $2 a month from all your subscribers, right? And when you put all of that together, I had $60 a month from that local paper out. And then the upgrade was to the Seattle Times in like 1991 or something like that. Turned 12, I was allowed to do Seattle Times, which of course delivers every single day of the week, including Sundays, which is the huge, big, like fat paper. That doubled up to $120 a month. And then I delivered that till I was 13 or 14 years old. And then I was doing this comic book store thing on the side.
So I did go on some newspaper delivery runs.
Did you?
Yeah, I don't think you know
like
that
you
about
always
me.
drag a friend with you. It's like if somebody wants to spend the night at your house, you're
Yeah,
like, well,
okay,
yeah,
so
but you have to come with me when I deliver my
that's
papers,
what happened,
right?
That's what happened when I spent the night at Jessica's house.
Yeah.
Her and her family, they had a paper route. So, you know, if you spent like, I think it was if I spent the night Saturday night, right? We were getting up to deliver that Sunday paper. But the cool thing about her route is that, so it was like in Kirkland, almost near the waterfront, and there used to be a Burger King down there, right? So like one of the last papers that got delivered was like at the Burger King. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So they let you bring it in, and you could pick something out.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So that, you know, that was the
back
thing.
back in the like early 90s, people would do casual stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like casually hire child labor or casually give people free burgers for being a good paper person, I guess. So that is, like I said, this is what I'm working on for 8-Bit Breakfast. I did editorialize my debate about the Project Helix conversation. We've got some articles on like how to spot counterfeit games. And actually, do you want to take a minute? I want to talk about the like counterfeit versus like, I want to talk with all you guys about counterfeits and repros and kind of get your opinions, because my opinion is they're not the same thing. Now, a repro can be counterfeit, right? But it's not necessarily counterfeit. And so what do I mean by all of this? A counterfeit is meant to deceive the customer. It's meant to like look like the original, right? And we should all be against that. And I want to say this all came from a Twitter conversation. So this is exactly how a lot of these things kind of bubble up in our world, and we're like, hey, we want to talk about it on YouTube or on 8-Bit Breakfast. There was this kind of posturing about how like it's not fair that there's so many games that you know, are in high demand and command a high price, so we should be allowed to counterfeit, and nobody should be shaming counterfeiters. And which of course I do not agree with that at all. Counterfeiting and deceiving people into buying something they think is authentic is just flat wrong.
Yeah.
I think most people, most like level-headed people can agree with that. Now, reproduction carts totally different thing. And there are two different types of reproduction
Right.
cards. So what Retrobit Publishing does, for example, is a reproduction card. It's a game that came out 30 years ago, and now we are reproducing it. It's a reproduction. And I kind of, you guys can read the article, but I kind of like articulate three different things that have to be true for a repro card to be kind of compliant. So what I'm saying is in this hobby, counterfeits and repros are going to exist whether you agree with them or not. So best to at least establish what are some community norms, right? So that we can say, hey, like it would be great if there was just enough for everyone to get the genuine article. But since that's not the case, I mean, if you want to get a copy of Little Samson, a loose cart's going to cost you over $1,000. So
that's not doable.
That's not doable for pretty much anybody.
Yeah.
Now, when companies like Retrobit come along, they typically target, actually, they only target either games that are commanding a high price like that, or games that didn't come out here in the first place.
But they're getting permission.
That's
like maybe
so that's
the
what I'm saying. It's an
difference.
authorized reproduction.
Yeah.
The other side of the coin is unauthorized reproductions, and this has been part of the hobby forever, right? So people will like make copies of like Sweet Home or Mother, or these are games that didn't come out here either, but they've localized them themselves as a hobby thing.
Right.
So that's like kind of a gray area thing. It's definitely not within like from a legal perspective, you should not be taking other people's works and making them. However, this is kind of like part of our hobby. And so when that's done, how should it be done? And so I identified three different things that that should be true. One is, oh, you know what? I haven't published this article yet. Publishing this article tomorrow. One is that the cart color should be different than the original. So if the original was gray, put it out in a black cart. Put it out in a transparent cart. Gray cart's acceptable if the other two items I'm going to say are true, but it should be noticeably different, visually different.
Yeah, I agree.
The other thing that should be true is it should say that it's a reproduction right on the cartridge label. It should be immediately identifiable. You shouldn't be grabbing like the Nintendo seal of quality or something like that. Now I have seen, and I meant to grab this, but just to show you guys, but I've seen where people grab what looks like the Nintendo seal of quality and it says reproduction, something or other like that, and they just creatively use it that way. But like different color cart, clear identification on the labeling, and then clear identification on the PCB. So Murmasa's here, and he makes PCBs that you can make repros with.
Well, he has something to say about
and I'm going to read his comment in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing you can do with his boards is transplant original chips onto those. So like if your board is just messed up, you could transplant them and like kind of like
there's a big value in that.
Revive your board, right?
That's good.
So he says the funny thing about this reproduction cards is usually a slang for new cartridges. Usually it was from ROM hacks, which and that's another reason why people make these, and that's kind of what I was talking about with Sweet Home and whatnot. And translations and bootlegs or counterfeits were kind of a normal thing. You're talking about licensed reproductions, so mostly. So transplanting is only with certain systems. I mean, it can be done. And the I guess what I'm saying is like the bottom line on this conversation is if it's not an authentic, like genuine original creation from the company, make it obvious that it's not. And I think the other thing is like it's kind of where EverDrives live and things like that too. So everyone has their own take on these kind of things, but NES and SNES aren't directly transferable right now because mass ROMs have different pinout, but the Genesis can't. But yeah. Okay, so don't you have like specific like NROM and SROM and all that kind of stuff boards that you could theoretically do a transplant with? I guess that's where I was going with that in my mind. But yeah, I'm just trying to have this conversation with you guys, and I would love to hear feedback because, and if you're watching this video after it's live, leave a comment. You know, I think authorized reproductions are pretty straightforward. Retrobit goes out of their way to make cart colors different. It says published by Retrobit right on it. You turn the game on and it has a splash screen that says published by Retrobit. They're not trying to make or pass off their items as originals. People who are doing like hobby builds where they're doing like ROM hacks and things like that, they generally will identify it as such, give it like even a different looking label that makes sense for the ROM hack portion of it. That is, I would say, cool. Like we should do that. That's part of what we do in this hobby. But straight up counterfeits where you're like having to like get tools out and really like put on your detective monocle and whatnot and try to figure out, is this Pokemon game real? That's BS, and I don't think anyone should be cool with it.
Right.
And I guess I'm asking is, are we on the same page with what we think the rules of the road are?
Yeah.
So I want to kind of go back on some of the comments here. Bacon Ice Cream's here. He was here last week, so thank you for coming back. And,
Bacon.
I guess we're doing something right.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
And he was asking about this. This is a hoverboard.
Yeah, that would be good to get signed, I would say.
And
That
so
would be
it's
cool.
got like, this is a battery pack. Takes like 6 AA batteries or something like that. And what that does is it makes sounds. So in this like this little green wheel rotates and stuff like that, so like you can get your footing. It's just a prop replica. But I'll tell you, when I got it, it was probably 2010 or something like that. Mattel just sold it. I don't remember if they sold them like Toys R Us or if it was like an online exclusive. But I got that when my kids were like, I'm not sure. I guess they were probably like 2 and 3, something like that.
They loved that movie. I don't even know how much time.
And what was cool was we lived in this condominium complex where the corridors were indoor and they were carpeted. And because they were little, I mean, you're not supposed to stand on that. If I stood on that, I would just crush it, right? But these little guys that are weighing like 20 pounds or whatever they weighed, they could stand on it. And if I held their hands while they had their foot on the board, and we could go down this is like so the carpet's just that flat kind of, like, it doesn't have threads that pop up, it's just flat carpet. I could pull them on it and it would slide around, and they thought it was hovering. So from their point of view,
like a little bit,
their point of view, they thought they were riding hoverboard. And so I just have had it ever since. That's all it really does. If you put the batteries in it, like, and you move it, it like has some sort of gyro in it that knows that it's moving, and it'll make whoom, 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 like sounds like that.
So Bacon has a lot of birds in their neighborhood as well.
Oh, well, you should download the Merlin app. Muramasa, you missed it, but you should download the Merlin app too. The short version is, it's like it's kind of like Pokemon Go, but for birds.
Yeah.
You walk around with your phone, and you can have your like, it has a recording button on it so that it's hearing sound, or you can take a picture if you like get a good shot of a bird, and it'll tell you like what it is, but then it'll also keep it and pin it on your map so you know where you saw it. And it's just kind of cool that over time you have all these different birds, and you're like, I didn't even know all these birds were in our neighborhood.
Well, and when you get them is kind of fun. So like we were just walking our dog, and there was just a mallard just chilling in a neighbor's yard. So it was kind of fun.
Dax downloaded it. Cool.
It's a great.
You'll have fun with it. It's
so
one
fun.
of those things where, like, once you start using it, you're like, wow, this is cool. And we just wanted to share that with you guys. End of the month. It sounds like we got some local people here, but we have people around the country too. And if you're watching this after it's live, we will be at the Midwest Gaming Classic. Let me pull up the exact dates for that. But I'm hoping that some of you guys will be there, and if you are, please like come up and talk to us. I will have a booth, and I'll also be walking around and stuff as in between. We are, if you haven't been to the Midwest Gaming Classic, I want to say it's my favorite. I don't know. I love PRGE, but Midwest Gaming Classic is something else. It's in Milwaukee, and if you're a couple hours drive or anything like that, make the drive. It is totally worth it. Plan to stay if you can, like stay overnight in a hotel. Dax One was there a couple years ago. Very good show. I wonder if we were there together. Because I wasn't there last year, but I think it was the year before.
I think you guys were there at the same same year.
I think it was the year before that I was there.
Mm-hmm.
And what's cool about it is, unlike any other convention that I've been to, you have the convention center, and then coming off of all four sides of it, maybe three sides of it, are these hallways that are like bridges that go to the different hotels. So there's like hotels that are physically connected to it by Skybridge. And so what's great is, like after they close the vendor floor, you can just walk back to your room. You don't have to get in an Uber or anything. You just walk back to your room, take a shower, change your clothes, get something to eat, whatever. And then you go back to the convention.
Yeah.
Which I never get to do because like, I guess I could with PRGE, but it's just like, and maybe I should next time go back down there and see what's going on.
It's fun, but it's a long day, I think, is what happens.
Yeah, and it's also you got to walk like 2-3 blocks back down there.
Yeah.
But the way they do it is like they have like live music. They have a huge arcade. Like it's way bigger than what PRGE has. At least the year I was there. And you're just walking around till like 2-3 in the morning, playing games, watching music, hanging out with friends, getting something to eat, going back, leaving back. Like you can come and go as much as you want.
Yeah.
There's not a lot in the area otherwise. Like there are like little restaurants and stuff like, and there's like a kind of a bigger food court about a block away. But then once you get past that, there's really kind of nothing. So everyone, that's a good thing because everyone just stays there.
Yeah.
So it's not like it just kind of like filters out and everyone goes in their way after the day is over. You have nowhere else to go. So everyone's hanging out there all night long. It's like a party basically all night.
Yeah. That's really cool.
So we'll be there. And
I'm hoping to go. I don't know for sure if I'm going to get to go or not, but I'm hoping.
This one's one where I kind of have to like think about what I'm bringing. I can't just load up the truck and show up with too much stuff. So just if you are there, we're going to be bringing some like heavy hitter sold out stuff that we've had from over the years.
We're not allowed to. We just can't. We're not allowed to list the stuff.
Like, some of the stuff where it's like long story short, you'll want to stop by and see what we got. So tease for that.
Yeah.
What else do we got coming up?
I feel like we have some pre-orders that are closing soon.
Oh,
right.
Yeah. You guys may not know this, but we have another website called CastleMania Entertainment. And the purpose of that website is it's sort of like everything that's like related to, and Bacon, I'll have to give you the lowdown on Nexus stuff. So I'll get to that in just a second here. But the, what was I going to say? Oh, CastleMania Entertainment. So it's all this other stuff. Like I've been talking about like comic books and stuff like this. A few years ago, we put a bunch of stuff like that on the CastleMania Games website, and it sold. Like people were happy to see it there, and there's like this natural crossover where people are into toys and video games and whatnot, right? But a lot of people complain too. They're like, man, I'm going on the CastleMania site and I used to sort by like products newly listed or whatever. They would tell me how they like navigating. They're like, I'm getting nothing but movies and vinyl and all this stuff, right? And so we just split it off to CastleMania Entertainment. So most of the vinyl is like lo-fi, like video game theme music, but we are bringing in some more just like traditional, like straight up music that we love.
Like Tom
that
Petty.
we've grown up with. Yeah, like Tom Petty, Pearl
Yeah.
Jam, Korn, Nirvana,
Mhm.
stuff like that. That people, it's the stuff you want to get on vinyl, you know. But we've got a lot of lo-fi, like Zelda and Chill, Samus and Chill, and like all the different names that they come up with to describe lo-fi kind of hip hop beat video game music. Super cool. If you guys haven't or aren't familiar with it, I'll drop a link in the chat. But there's one of the like the artists that got me into it is called Game Chops, and you can check out their channel. I'll drop it, but we carry their music on vinyl. So that's there. But we have alongside that, we have different figures and things like that. So I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Kotobukiya, but Kotobukiya is known for like they make like resin statues and things like that. Very cool, beautiful pieces of art, really, that would go nicely up on your shelf. Super expensive, right? And they make like limited numbers of them. There's like in the hundreds, sometimes in the thousands, sometimes. But they're expensive. Like some of their statues are in the like $300, $400, $500 range.
Mm-hmm.
And something that like me and Ron over at Retrobit have been like, dude, you guys gotta like vary this line a little bit. And so they introduced a line called Oshi, and they'll use like different materials and things like that. But these figures are beautiful. And so one of the first runs is this Mega Man line. And so we opened up pre-orders on that. Those close on the 14th. And they're super cool. I just saw them at Toy Fair in February in New York. And that was one of the ones that we came back and we were like, these are going right, on the shelf to the castle.
Yeah.
There was some other lines that we picked up there, like Trick or Treat Studios. We are getting some more of their stuff in, more records. And then there's Zelda book from Dark Horse.
That looks very cool.
It's super cool.
Yeah.
Just check it out. It's right on the homepage of CastleMania Entertainment. All of that stuff closes on the 14th. So if you guys are interested in that, take a look. The Nexus, though, let me see. So we got so basically, and Bacon knows this, but the way the Evercade pre-orders typically work is like, so the games that are going to be announced here in like 2-3 weeks on the 30th, I think it is. I ordered those games like 3 months ago. I told Evercade, this is how many I want to sell. And, we all, that's what all sellers have to do. And that's based on just like how many we can kind of typically sell. Plus we like to have some left over after the dust clears, right? And so that's why pre-orders sell out. People ask all the time, how is it even possible that a pre-order would sell out? And so the other way to do a pre-order is called like an open pre-order, and that's what Retrobit does, where they say, hey, we're opening pre-orders on the 1st, and then we're closing them on the 30th. And then shortly after the 30th, we have to tell them how many we sold and how many we want, that kind of thing. That's not how Evercade does it, and the reason is because they have production schedules that they have to get games out every other month. They just can't do it that way. But for the Nexus, we have to turn in our final numbers on the 24th. So our original allotment got opened up. So basically, people need to get their orders, and Bacon covers Evercade stuff.
Nice.
So I wanted you to know that, like, we're turning in our orders. We probably need to turn them in Thursday, the 23rd, is what I'm going to guess, because they have to turn orders over to production on the 24th. So basically, Nexus is just open. We can't sell out. we just have to turn in our sales. So if people are feeling rushed or squeezed because a payday is a certain day of the week, we got a little more room on that one. And I wanted to make sure everyone knew that, because it's not how Evercade typically does things. And yeah, what, this one?
I don't know. Okay. Talk about it.
I mean, that was pretty much what we kind of had on our list to cover. We're going to be doing, just so you know, and if you're coming in late, we have a blog called 8-Bit Breakfast. So it's just number 8, BIT Breakfast. No hyphens or anything, just 8-Bit Breakfast. That's a blog where we're covering just a variety of different things. And then I'm going to start doing a roundup on Sundays. Mm-hmm. So this Sunday, I'll do the first 8-Bit Breakfast roundup here on YouTube. And it'll just be kind of like going through like those kind of things. It's not going to be a live stream. I'm going to just post a video. Or were we going to do that live?
I don't know. I think we need TBD. To talk about that. But I do have a question. If there's anything that anybody, like, we're all community together, like if there's anything that people want to talk about, I think just dropping a comment, dropping a question, like, on Facebook and that kind of thing, or Instagram.
Or drop them in the comments right here. I'm going to actually go back a little bit because Muramasa had added some comments about the reproduction carts that we didn't kind of finish up. So,
but I did want to say, like, on Arcane season 1, episode 1, just want to make sure everybody, like, do we want to continue on with Arcane? I think we should give people another week, another chance to, like, see if they get into it, right? Or should we switch? Is there a different show, you know, that we should all watch together?
We're gonna watch episode 2 and talk about it next week. But if it's a bust, we'll talk about it. I'm not seeing it that way.
No,
but if you guys aren't interested in it, like, that's cool. We can watch something else. We just got our Crunchyroll subscription. So if you guys are into anime, and you guys want to do like a kind of a book club watch along thing there, that would be cool. Or if you want to do Stargate, hang on. I'll totally do a Stargate watch along with you guys.
I'll be honest, that was like kind of the dilemma for me. I kept thinking like, should we do a rewatch of Stargate? I don't know.
While you guys are thinking of any questions to ask, and I will come back to Muramasa's comments. I am springing a surprise on Lisa. I forgot to mention. So one of the articles that I'm writing on the 8-Bit Breakfast is similar to the like comic book thing, where I'm kind of reading through and I'm not automatically putting everything I read on this like best 10. Okay, Matt's into Stargate, so maybe we'll do a Stargate watch along, because I'm
kind of I like Arcane, but I'm feeling pulled back to Stargate, like SG1 rewatch. Actually, you know what I heard?
What's that?
What I heard about Stargate is that, oh my gosh, I think Amazon Prime is looking to do I don't want to say a reboot.
No.
I think I'm saying it wrong.
Okay, so just for any SG1 fans, Stargate, okay, let's try them both.
Okay.
Manic Moogle is gonna.
Well, how far are you in though? Where are people, like, did they just start over again, or are they just like randomly, like, sometimes we'll just randomly pick off the shelf like an episode. I don't know.
We should think about how we want to do that. So Stargate, you can watch in order. Obviously, there is an overarching story, but a lot of the episodes can be watched by themselves as well.
Most of them.
So so my surprise for Lisa and for you guys is, and you'll see this right on the homepage of 8-Bit Breakfast. It's like down below the fold, but it's in the latest section. It says Chrono Trigger, a 2026 retrospective. Is it still worth $200? So I'll talk about that episode, Matt. Um,
I remember that episode.
Is it still worth $200? And gosh, I really need to know how to like switch over to show you guys what I'm looking at. But here's the bottom line. Like, you know, I'm 45. I grew up with the Super Nintendo. It was, I think it came out when I was like 11 or 12. I had played Final Fantasy on the NES. I'd played Legend of Zelda, Destiny of an Emperor. I loved RPGs going into the Super Nintendo. So first RPG, when I heard that there was a Final Fantasy 2, Final Fantasy 4, but we called it 2 here, I freaked out, you know, and I definitely played that. I played, and to this day, Final Fantasy 4 is my favorite Final Fantasy. I played Final Fantasy 6. It's good. I love it. It's, you know, most people put 6 above 4. I'm 4 above 6, but whatever. And it's probably just because of like when I played it, right? A lot of times that matters. It's like when you played it and kind of where you what you were doing in life. Played Secret of Mana. Loved it.
Okay,
that was an action RPG.
What is this?
I never heard of Chrono Trigger.
Okay.
I never heard of it. I had not heard of Chrono Trigger until like 10 years ago, when everyone started making retro video game YouTube channels and talking about like games that were like epic of our past. And it's kind of a sin, you know? It's like, what, how, you know, people are see, blasphemy right there. Like I told you. So it's that year. It's like, how is it that somebody that plays these games, I was the exact customer for this game, right?
But now it's expensive to buy.
But now it's expensive.
Okay.
We already have it though. But I've never played it.
How do you have it, but you're like, I don't get it. I'm lost. You didn't know?
We have it now, but I never played it as a child, and I still haven't played it.
Okay. Okay.
So we're gonna play it. Lisa and I are gonna play it together. That's the drop.
Okay.
So Lisa, you know, she likes games fine enough. Like she plays, you know. Like tell them like what the kind of games you like.
Okay, well, I mean, for me, my brother and I grew up playing the NES.
Right.
You know, so it was like Tyson, Duck Hunt, right? Like all like Punch Out or Knockout or whatever. All those games. Mario, you know, the originals. But my top two favorite games, so Tetris. Okay.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people love that game. It seems like. But Dr. Mario is my jam. My friend Candace knows, we were just talking about this. I actually have to be careful about playing Dr. Mario. I love it so much.
Yeah. She'll play it like it'll be like 2 a.m. and I'm getting up like getting
you gotta stop.
Like, what's going on out here?
Yeah.
And and she's like still playing it. So she has to be careful with that one.
I do have to be careful.
But so my idea for this article and for this, you know, like we'll follow up with it maybe on Wednesdays or so, is the whole, like I watch these videos on YouTube where you'll see people like young kids hearing Pearl Jam for the first time, or you know, it's somebody who's like in their early 20s listens to like trap hip hop stuff, whatever, and they're like checking out you know, like Nirvana or Rage Against the Machine or Tool or whatever, and you just watch these reactions. For whatever reason, I like watching those. And it's just fun to see somebody, it's like this fish out of water almost, or this like somebody who's like, they didn't grow up with it, but they're experiencing something, you know it's good already. You're like, they're gonna like this. And they seem to pick the same videos a lot of times. Like a lot of them pick like, Where Did You Sleep Last Night from Nirvana, and that's because he's singing like so calmly like the whole time, and you're like, this is good, I guess I get it. And then when he goes into the my girl, like all of a sudden he's like shouting,
he is,
that will send shivers down your spine. I don't care who you
are,
emotion
behind it,
and when you see that like come across their face, it's like, oh my god, you know. So I love that, and my idea was to kind of like transpose that into this and just go from my point of view, I already know I'm gonna like Chrono Trigger, I'm not worried about that. I'm getting the, if I could read my favorite book again for the first time, you know what I mean? If it's like, if I could play this game again, but experience it like the first time, I'm getting that. She's getting the, where did you sleep last night? Like, oh my God, I think I like RPGs moment. I think, hopefully, if this works, we'll see. You'll see. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've never played Chrono Trigger. Totally missed it. Didn't know about it. And it's just one of those games I learned about watching Metal Jesus or something, or I think My Life in Gaming, or who knows. Somebody was talking about it, and then everyone knew about it. And suddenly I felt like, well, what was I doing when that came out? I have no idea. So let's go back to the chat here
Super
a little
Nintendo.
bit. Yeah, it's for the Super Nintendo.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure they have, I know we have a PlayStation 1 version of at least Chrono Cross.
Okay.
I can't remember if we have it on the PS1 or the Super Nintendo or the DS. We might have it on the DS. We'll figure it out.
Interesting.
I know I have a copy of it, but all right. So, Matt was talking about the Stargate episode. It's called Window of Opportunity is the name of the title. And that one is most people's favorite, I would say, episode.
We've watched that many times on repeat,
so,
ironically, right?
So I've been part of the Stargate Gate World like fan community for 20 years, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
And they used to do a like a birthday email for people where they would send you an email and they'd say like, hey, it's your birthday, happy birthday.
Yeah.
Watch your favorite Stargate episode.
Yeah, and we did.
Window of Opportunity was always my choice. I watched something different this year, and my birthday was just a week ago. I'm trying to remember what the heck I watched. I don't know, but to be honest, I almost watch it every night anyway, if I'm being honest. So would love to do that, watch along with you guys so we could chat about it.
Yeah.
Matt says, okay, so this is another one though too. He says, watching people who missed playing Halo back in the day experience the flood the first time was pretty cool. So
there's
I've
a lot
never
of
played Halo either, and we do
yeah.
have the Halo collection as like all of them. We should probably play that too.
Yeah.
So part of it for me with Halo is, and I mean, let me know, but like there's a true campaign in it, right? It's not just multiplayer. Because I'm the kind of person who like, I love playing Call of Duty campaigns, but then I'm out. Like I play the campaign the 6 to 10 hours and then I'm out.
So Ryan, just to be clear, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say Ryan is an elder millennial.
Yeah, I'm right on the line.
Throw it out there.
I'm the first year of what people call millennials.
You're a very old millennial.
Yeah, and actually, I think I was talking to Matt about this the other day, actually. But my group, it's like usually I think it's like 81 to 86 or something. Or no. It's like 80 to 85, whatever it is. They call them Zennials. And the reason is because when you think of millennial, you don't think of me, a 45-year-old, right? And when you think of Gen X, you also kind of don't think of me. Like I was aware of the world in the 80s, right? My memories probably start somewhere around 86, roughly. Other than that, maybe a flash or two before that. But you know, I mean, I was born in 81, so you know, like middle school for me was in the 90s, high school for me was in the 90s. The comic book stuff, I was going to come back to that too. So we'll talk about the 90s for just a minute. We, the Zennials, like we grew up in this world where technology was coming into our worldview when we were in high school. The internet was becoming a commonplace term. Like nobody had heard of, I mean, some people had heard of the internet before that, but in terms of it being like common vernacular, that was really the late 90s, like 97, 98, 99, somewhere in there is where most people heard about it for the first time. And so we grew up in this analog world and this digital world, and we
Yes.
have had to learn to use both, and we learned how to use both at comfortable ages for learning how to use both. And that makes Xennials kind of unique in the arc of history. Most people don't have such a radical transformation. I suspect you could make the case for kids who are in high school now learning about AI. Maybe they'll look back and say that, like, hey, I remember before AI and I remember after AI, just like I remember before the internet. I used to have Guitar Player magazine. I used to keep all of them. I don't know where they are now, but they're long. I think I gave them away or something. But, you know, like one of the things I used to like to do was show people, like, look, you know, this magazine from 1990, and there's like no websites on any of these articles or any of these ads, you know. So we grew up in this weird time where we remember before the internet, after the internet, before the smartphone, after the smartphone, before social media, after social media, etc.
Yeah.
The thing I was going to come back to on the comic book thing was, so they killed off Superman in a kind of a desperate attempt to keep DC alive, and it worked. It kept DC alive. But the thing is the industry itself was struggling. And, you know, like Marvel sold off most of its key players in the 90s. And that included like Spider-Man and the X-Men and all of that stuff. That's why those first Spider-Man movies and X-Men movies are all Sony.
Yeah.
Because Sony bought that. And when they kicked off the Avengers, those were all D-listers. Like nobody, when I was collecting comics in the early 90s, nobody was collecting for Iron Man or the Hulk or Captain America. Like you knew who they were, but they're kind of little lame ones. You were collecting X-Men, Spider-Man, stuff like that, right? Now Marvel's bought all that stuff back, except for Spider-Man. I think Sony just hasn't let go of that, but they've worked out a deal.
I'll be right back.
But that's just kind of the state of things back then. So let's see. So Dax1 says it's blasphemy that I didn't know about Chrono Trigger, and I agree. Manic Moogle says I have the DS version. My SNES copy was stolen 20 years ago. I hate that. There are games that just kind of like back in the day when you let people borrow stuff that just never make their way back. And that's ridiculous. I did have a couple of games that I let somebody borrow when I was a kid, when I was in like 3rd grade. And then they built a new school, and he went to the new school and I still went to the old school, and I never saw him again. And then one day, randomly, like 10 years later, I saw him like at the store or something. And I'm like, dude, yeah, my games. And he's like, I'm sorry, man, I do still have them, but we're going camping. I'm like, no. We're going to your house right now. I'm getting my games. And I did. I went and got those games back. So that definitely sucks. Happy belated birthday. Not remembering what you did means you're in your 40s. That's for sure. God, I'm trying to remember what episode it was that I watched. I'll tell you another one of my favorite Stargate episodes is called Tin Man. And I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it's basically they go to a planet where they get knocked out, and the only living person there is actually an android, and he makes android replicas of all of them, but they don't know that they're androids, and they go back to Stargate Command, and then they figure out that they're androids. That might have been what I watched. That's a good one.
That's a really good episode. The doctor trying to figure that out is...
Yeah, they like really draw their blood, and there's like all this white milky stuff coming out. Muramasa says, yep, it has a real campaign. So Halo might be another one we have to play through. It's a big deal for being able to do LAN parties. Yes, absolutely. In a lot of ways, it was kind of the beginning of console shooters. Yeah, I suppose so. For me, the first game that I would consider a console shooter I mean, I guess you could say like GoldenEye, but in the sense of what it's become is probably Medal of Honor. I remember really loving that, and I think it's correct me if I'm wrong, you guys, but I believe that the Medal of Honor team went on to create Call of Duty, and then that franchise basically died. I saw a documentary on like Medal of Honor somewhere. It was really interesting. He says, I guess I'm one. This is Manic Moogle says, I guess I'm one of those too. I've never heard that term before. I never thought of myself as Gen X, but millennial sounds like jumping the gun. Absolutely. Yeah. Like when you think of millennial, like I remember meeting people who were born like in the early to mid 90s and they're millennials. And I'm like, well, we're not the same generation then. You know what I mean? Like if we're graduating 10 years apart, then nothing about our growing up is the same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Matt says, the one where they get the AI implanted in their head, that is super annoying, was fun too. Can't remember. Oh, yeah. That one, that is, that's the one where the guy says, come try a lot.
Oh, I was thinking of that one earlier.
Yeah.
Didn't we already just talk about that? I thought.
No.
Oh,
no.
What am I thinking of? Well, that's the one I was thinking of.
That's a good one. I'm trying to think of what that one's called. I don't remember the title of that one right off the top of my head, but that's a good episode.
The one where they get stuck on that planet and they're getting like sunburnt. You remember that one?
Oh yeah, that's a good one too.
Yeah.
So how do they get out of that?
They can't get
they're basically they're stuck on a planet that's got two suns. They didn't know that it had two suns. The second sun comes up, starts burning. I might watch that one.
That's
reminded me of that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that's one of the ones where Jack gets like ancient knowledge downloaded, and Ergo gets is that what the episode's called? Is called Ergo? I mean, that's the dude's name that says Comtria for sure.
Is this all one episode that I'm thinking? Now we have to rewatch it. Now I'm getting confused.
Tin Man is different than the AI one that he's talking about.
And the one with the two suns is definitely three.
That's a totally different episode.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, Manic Moogle saying GoldenEye hands down. That's definitely that was the first multiplayer like where you had four people sitting around a TV shooting each other. I can't think of another game before that, and you know it really couldn't have happened before that generation. The Nintendo 64 offered 4-player controllers natively. Any other system you would have had to get a like an adapter, like a to add more. Like the PlayStation had a V-shaped one. I don't remember what it's called, but Matt says he just wants to live. I just want to live. I want to experience the universe, and I want to eat pie. Yeah, for sure. So that's because when they had that AI implanted in them, the AI was like using the team really as a way to like learn about the world. And so all of their senses were heightened to the extreme max. So even things that were just, he's like eating pudding. He's like, I don't even like pudding, but this is really good, or whatever it was, or yogurt or whatever. But yeah. So yeah, I think maybe we'll flip over to doing some Stargate. We'll talk about that next week. But we are going to watch Arcane episode 2. So if you guys want to try to watch that this week, that'd be super cool. And we'll see if it's worth sticking to. So far, I'm liking it. And I do want to give new studios a chance to create new properties. So we're not just watching Star Wars and Marvel over and over and over again for the rest of our lives. That's why I was interested in them. And like I said, I was specifically interested in them because it's a cell phone game property that I thought, let's give it a chance.
Yeah.
My fiance recognized the quote immediately. Makes me wish I had been watching with her. the Comtria thing. Did you say Comtria to her? So Comtria is and even Jack, the guy from he's like the team leader. He's like, is that like aloha? And it's totally like aloha.
Yeah.
You can use it like
a lot of ways.
hello, goodbye.
Yeah.
It's a greeting.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of fans know that. I mean, they'll.
But we've had shows where I started watching The Office before you. Like I
Yeah.
was in the back, like in a different room, laughing. You know,
Yeah,
like when it was on live.
I actually came in, you know, because I heard her laughing
Yeah.
continuously.
Like
And I'm
for a
what are
few
you watching?
weeks. Yeah.
And finally, I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
well, this must be good. So we sat down and watched The Office, and that was
Yeah.
when it was still in season 1. So I was just locked in from there.
Yeah.
But she was watching it live on TV, so I just
Yeah.
like came in. I'm like, what the heck is, you know?
It too. So.
Well, I think we're gonna call it there. Sorry about the rough start, everybody. I think I got this all figured out for next time, so we'll be better about going live on time and having everything working as it's supposed to. But I appreciate you guys. Feel free to message us or follow us on like our socials, and if there's something that we forgot to talk about or you wanted to say, like we'll just pick it up next Wednesday. So we'll see you then.